Today we're going to talk about why teens under the age of 16 do not have enough experience to operate a motor vehicle. It is very important for us to realize how little experience is needed prior to obtaining a school permit. How many of you have been in a car with a teen? How many of you have shared the road with a teen? Most of us can relate to the seriousness of this issue. In 2008, the Iowa DOT showed statistics that teens in a vehicle with their parent rarely were in accidents. That number increased 700% when no parent was in the car. Teens under the age of 16 do not have the experience needed to operate a vehicle. Inexperience and overconfidence are the cause of thousands of deaths each year. We've all heard very real stories involving accidents in teens. Most of you know a teen who is driving with a school permit. What you don't know is how little experience is needed to obtain the permit. Lack of experience is something that can be remedied. Parents should take control of the situation. I am the mother of 2 teens. Every day, along with millions of other parents, I worry about sending them out on the road. I worry about them not having the experience needed to make the right decisions. I worry that they'll be overconfident in their ability to manage the vehicle in situations that will require quick decision making. You might not know a teen driving right now, but you and your loved ones are sharing the road. Do you feel comfortable that we have done everything we can to make them responsible drivers? I feel that there's more that we can offer them to increase their awareness of responsible driving. My intent today is to persuade you to believe permits should not be allowed in students under the age of 16. Today, I would like to talk to you about stricter driving education programs, the number of teen motor vehicle accidents, and the elimination of the school permit. First, we'll talk about the driving requirements. The DOT allows children 14 years and old to obtain a permit. It's a simple process of passing an exam. Only 20 hours of supervised driving are needed, and 2 of those hours are nighttime driving. There is no way to track or record these hours. An instruction permit must be held for at least 6 months prior to the school permit, and then approved driver's ed course is needed during this time. The driver's ed course requires 30 hours of class and only 6 hours behind the wheel. Most of us have been required to have more on-the-job training to sit behind a desk. Why is it when people's lives are at risk, very little training is needed? Now that we have talked about the lack of driver's requirements, let's talk about motor vehicle accidents being the leading cause of teen deaths. According to the CDC, in 2010, about 2,700 teens were killed in motor vehicle accidents, ages 16 and 19. 282,000 teens were treated and released in the emergency rooms. This is 4 times the number of accidents that happen in adults 20 and older. These numbers should compel us to change the requirements. Do you want your child to be part of this statistic? This is a graph put out by the CDC that shows the number of accidents per month that they've had their license. So you can see in the first month that it's about 120,000, and that decreases by half after they've had it a year. So this proves that more experience is needed. Some of the reasons behind increased rate of accidents is the poorly learned skills and their inability to anticipate road hazards. Teens are more willing to take risks. They drive at higher speeds and they follow closely to other vehicles. Another problem is that young teens are allowed to have passengers other than their parents while they're driving. We all know how easily distracted our teens are. Is that any different when they're driving in a vehicle? Are you comfortable letting them get into a car with a group of friends? Or do you want to take the steps to change the requirements? Now that we have talked about what happens when they do not have enough experience, let's talk about improving the standard education process. CDC research indicates that it takes 5 years for teens to become proficient drivers. This experience should happen with an adult. Someone who can answer the questions and instruct them. Someone who has a stake in it when a mistake does happen. That someone is us. More driving should be required to complete the education process. Even if the driving time is doubled, they can still not experience every situation, but their comfort level will increase, as will ours. School permits should not be a means to make parents' lives easier. It is our responsibility to make sure children arrive at school safely. Most of us would not feel good about ourselves if our child was injured or injured someone else because we were not able to get them to school. Today, we've talked about the current driving requirements, the lack of experience contributing to accidents, and why there is a need for this program. Driver education is the most important class. It should reflect the importance. Stricter driving requirements and the elimination of the student driver permit would decrease the number of teen motor vehicle accidents. We have a responsibility to make changes to these programs, not just as parents, but as partners on the road. It's not just my child out on the road without experience, it's thousands of other children. It's a recipe for disaster that we can control. Please consider the impact of what your state's requirements are, or rather what they lack. Join me and contact your congressman to be part of the force to change the requirements for all of us.